And we're live. It is Thursday, March 12th, the year of our Lord 2026. It is 8 o'clock a.m. in Washington, D.C., and I have an important announcement. The sun is not shining. We have a storm passing over Washington. It was 80 degrees here yesterday, and today it is supposed to snow. So we have exciting weather. Folks, I have another announcement. I want to talk about Laura Loomer. Because Laura Loomer turns out to be a listener of Rational Security. And she tweeted all about Rational Security yesterday, which means this was the first time I have been Laura Loomered. My picture appeared in a Laura Loomer tweet. And I have a bone to pick with Laura Loomer, which is that I have several bones to pick with Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer used Rational Security as part of her long-running war against the estimable Ariane Tabatabai. And she used Rational Security, Ari's presence on Rational Security as part of this long-running vendetta that she's got going. And I want to say that several reasons why I find this objectionable. Number one, Laura Loomer said that her sources told her that Ari was in Singapore. Well, actually, Rational Security told her that Ari was in Singapore. So, yeah, their sources, like the source was us. We said joining from Singapore is Ari Tabatabai. Number two, I'm speaking directly to you, Laura Loomer, now. You listened to Rational Security, watched Rational Security. You posted a little picture of Rational Security, including my mug, on your Twitter feed. You and you used this as part of your long-running campaign to defame Ari. And you didn't mention a single thing that Ari Tabatabai said on Rational Security, or in any of the numerous other podcasts or live streams that she has done with Lawfare about the Iranian regime. Now, I don't, as a matter of habit, repeat people's defamation, so I'm not going to talk about what she said about Ari, because that is, I think the technical term is fucking inappropriate, and it was fucking inappropriate and defamatory, Laura, for you to say those things. But it is, and it therefore would not be appropriate for me to repeat things. But I will say, if you are going to attack somebody for their podcast appearances, actually, why not talk a little bit about what Ari had to say on Rational Security or on the 8 or 10 other live streams and shows that she's done. And I want to submit, Laura Loomer, that there's a reason why you didn't do that. And that's that you would have to concede, if you did, that nothing about what she said is remotely consistent with the allegations you are peddling about her. So that is all I have to say on the subject of Laura Loomer. I'm not in the habit of wasting my monologue about Laura Loomer. But since you went after one of my people and included my face and Scott Anderson's face and Lawfare's a good name in the project, I felt like a certain obligation to say something about it. Laura, if you want to come on the show and talk about it, you can't. But do get in touch anyway. Uh, uh, and consider whether you really want to be in the business of peddling frankly defamatory information that is false. It's not a good look. Look, the sun is not shining. The birds are chirping. The storm is passing over Washington on its way to dump stuff on Alicia. And it's true. But you are watching Dog Shirt TV, and it is a goddamn revolution in morning television. And one of the revolutionary features is that sometimes, for reasons unclear, I have to spend the first 6 minutes of the show talking about Laura Loomer. And another one of the revolutionary features, and this is one of my favorite ones, is that Alicia feels very guilty if I'm going to be the only person on the show. And she tells me she's not going to show up. But then if nobody in the DSTV chat says they're showing up, and for example, Nastia and I arranged that she's showing up in a separate bilateral chat.
Wow, Ben.
Alicia will just show up because she feels guilty and she feels like I'm going to be left by myself and something terrible is happening. And this causes me no anxiety at all. But it causes Alicia anxiety on
It
my
causes
behalf.
everyone anxiety, though,
And that's
because
why
you don't sound like a person who is not anxious about it when you're harassing us to show up on the show.
I
Although I
believe
didn't get much harassment this morning. I got
I
a hello
believe
and
there
shut it
was
down.
I believe there was no harassment. I sent Alicia a friendly hello, and she defensively said that there was no way she could be ready for the show this morning, even though I hadn't asked. I had just given
I
her
know
a
what's
friendly.
coming.
And yet here you are. Look,
I did
all
say
of
no
which,
way. It's true.
all of which is a long-winded way of saying that
But you
we
have
are
Nastya. I can leave now.
not allowed to have fun anymore. But we are allowed to have Nastya and maybe Alicia, who has complaints about prediction markets. So, but first, we have a really important update because Nastya sent me some really fabulous pictures this morning that I'm going to share while she's talking. So, Nastya, remind people what these remind people of where we were with Operation Battery, and then let's and then give us an update.
So we were in the process of making sure that we had enough money to buy a really big, really expensive sort of industrial generator for this business, Mamacita, which is a place for moms and kids to like hang out and spend time productively at the same time in one spot. We had the founder of Mamacita on the show, and Svetlana, she shared the story. She talked about how they had to shut down, how they worked for more than a year and they've had to shut down this winter because their generator broke and she couldn't carry the energy costs. And they were just starting to break even and become a normal profitable business. And then she closed it because she couldn't pay 15 grand to set up a generator, but we could pay 15 grand for her to set up a generator. And so we did that. We basically told her that we'll cover the costs for her, and she found a generator. It took some time to get the electrician to come in and measure all the things. And today Actually, as we speak, they're installing it. And it's a really massive thing, which is the pictures that Ben wanted to show you guys.
I
The
will share
generator
them.
costs, I think, $12,000 or $13,000. And then a few thousand on top are the various installation costs and all the associated costs. So I think we're giving her around 15 grand total. So this is the generator.
Yeah,
That
so
this white thing is the generator, yeah.
let's
And they had to use a huge ass vehicle to like bring it in, of which Ben can show you a photo also.
yeah, I'm working on that.
Yeah. And so that's exciting. I'm really glad that we did this.
So when will she
And
be operational again?
she is planning to open next Friday, and I'm invited to the opening. So there will be content. And I don't think she announced it. Yes. So they had like I don't know, what do you call this? A crane,
Yeah.
a really big vehicle. Had to drive in and like get it out of the box, and it's a bunch of guys getting it in. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Um,
And yeah,
yeah, so have you talked to her?
yes, she's been sending me. Yeah, so this is what this looks like. She's been sending me these pics all day, all morning, and yeah, it's all very complicated, and I have massive respect for this woman for dealing with all of this on her own.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So uh uh so Carol H asks whether that generator requires a housing of any kind.
what does that
In
mean?
in my I don't know the absolute answer to that question, but I'll tell you what I know, which is that in Kyiv, big businesses like hotels and will often have a very large generator sort of installed on the sidewalk outside in front of them or
Yeah,
in back of them,
that's
and they
exactly what Mamacita is doing.
have like a metal casing that is, it's
Yes.
not really weatherproof, but it's it protects it from rain and stuff. It's
Well, these
uh
generators don't really need to be protected from that kind of stuff. Like they're
yeah, but
very like
they're
sturdy
pretty
machines or
robust,
whatever.
but they
Yeah.
do need, they aren't the machinery isn't exposed to the elements or the small children that are walking by.
Yeah.
It's encased, and they're pretty robust, but they do require a fair bit of maintenance. Imagine like you were running your car 24/7, or and so they're not free to operate. But the difference between having one and not having one is the difference for her between being able to continue to operate and not.
Yeah.
Um,
Having a business or not having a business.
right.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
so give us an update more generally on the electricity situation. What is, it's warmed up a lot in Kyiv.
yeah, it's quite warm and nice and sunny. In fact, it's like
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping. It's a great fucking day in Kyiv.
ex yeah, I can't believe we can actually say that about Kyiv, but yes. The electricity situation is actually like really not bad. Like it's basically backup running. Um, we have like a short outage. Well, my address has a short outage for like 2 or 3 hours a day. And for most of the rest of the day, it's fine. Which is really nice because like we haven't had that in many months.
And is
Um,
that because now that it's not cold, the Russians aren't bothering to hit energy infrastructure anymore? Or is that because now that it's not cold, things get fixed faster? Or is that because the uh, the like what do you attribute the change to?
Well, it's a mix of things. The Russians have stopped doing these mass attacks on the grid. I'm pretty sure they're still attacking energy infrastructure, but it's like the attacks are much smaller. They still have it, but they're much smaller. And so the Russians aren't attacking as much anymore. People are using generally less electricity because we're not using heaters anymore because it's you no longer need the heaters, the electric powered various heating sources.
Right,
And
that's a
yes, the
huge difference. If
that is a
people,
huge difference. Yes,
right, so
because that takes a massive
heating
load.
things is a giant power suck.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
if you shift everything to electrical energy, you drain
It's
the
just really
electrical
bad.
power supply really, really fast.
Yes. And yeah, so like Ukraine just managed to repair most of the stuff, and it's been pretty good. Of course the thing is like uh we don't know for how long this is going to continue. Like at
Right.
any given moment, Russia could start attacking again, and the outages are going to continue. Um, and then of course
And at any
also,
given moment, it can get cold again, right? It's not,
well,
I
well,
mean, it's
but sure, but there's only so many weeks left when that can be true. Like at some point, it's
right,
just
but
gonna be
it's
spring and summer, etc. Right?
sure,
Like
sure.
we're
But
not
I mean,
gonna go to.
between now and when it can't get cold again is still several weeks.
Yes, yes, that's true. And then I mean also like we're already preparing for the next winter. Like the Ukrainian
Right.
government is already implementing various plans and having these like strategic meetings with the Kyiv authorities and the other like sort of municipal local authorities on preparing for the next winter because everyone understand like now that we've gone through that winter, like we sure as shit do not have high expectations for the next winter. And of course that factors in, if you're a business owner, like I mean, like Svetlana couldn't just wait for a few months and get back up running because she knows that, okay, in like not even winter, come fall when temperatures drop, because the last mass campaign, the Russian campaign against energy, started in September. So until the next September, that's half a year. So Svetlana wouldn't have opened, right? Because she'd know that okay, in 6 months, I'm gonna have to pay up 15 or 20 grand anyway, and it's gonna be shit again. And so just for people who are like, why are we buying her generator when it's like warm and nice and you have power? Because in 6 months we may not have power anymore. And so just in terms of long-term planning,
Yeah, I
just
mean,
very
I
important.
like there was no way she was reopening. She knew when the spring was coming. There was no way she was reopening without some support.
Yeah.
And so,
And the situation can change at any moment. And she told me
right,
that actually today. I was asking her like, okay, what's the situation with energy? Because at my address we have power basically all day. She said it's not that bad anymore. Like it's fine. There is electricity, but she's like, but we all know that it can change at any moment.
right.
So yeah.
Um, all right. So, Stan asks an important question that we should discuss,
What's the question?
which is the battery funding campaign ongoing or is it paused?
That's a
Um,
great question.
so I have not done an accounting recently, which reminds me, Nastia, I need the receipts and the invoices
Yep.
for Mamacita, and
Yep.
I will do that over the weekend. My impression, just based on vibes and mental math, is that we have spent almost all of what we have taken in, and it's relatively close. Whether we're a little bit, whether we've a little bit overspent or have a little bit to spend, I'm not
We still
sure.
have a few grand. We still have
Yeah,
like I still have around $4,000
Okay.
and you may have some stuff
Yeah,
still
I
that
may
you
have
haven't
more
sent
to
me.
send you, or I may
Yeah,
have sent you a little bit more than I collected. I'm not sure which. But I will do the reconciliation in the next few days. Um, uh, I have not called an end to the fundraising. So, every few
we haven't
days,
really decided what we're gonna do with it. Yeah.
exactly. Every few days, somebody still sends me, by one means or another, a few dollars. In fact, I got a ominous call the other day from my bank, um, which told me that one of my transactions had been flagged as a suspicious activity, which means that somewhere in the financial crimes enforcement network, there is an SAR about my bank account, which I'm really excited about. And the reason is that somebody donated using Zelle and included as the purpose of the transaction the word Ukraine. And that is a flag for a, like all
Like not
kinds of organized
Hamas,
crime.
not I don't know, pray for Ayatollah, Ukraine. And
Right.
that's
It was
triggering.
not like, I mean, to be fair, there are a bunch of your country people, Nastia, who do all sorts of suspicious money laundering.
And
Um,
you Americans don't do that? What is this?
well,
What
we
is this
do.
discrimination?
Well, fine. The banks flagged this transaction, and they called me and politely asked me three questions about it. And I answered the three questions, and they told me my account was in good standing. And so, by the way, guys, when you donate to Project Battery, remember this is my personal account, and don't put jokes or not that Ukraine is a joke, but just do Operation Battery in the tagline, or even nothing. But don't say things like money laundering for Ukraine, right? Anyway, no, I'm joking. So, uh,
I
like
think
basically,
with the money that we have, I think we still I still have a list of like there are still like three families who I have on the list who could use a battery and a few units that need one. My instinct is to give to Jesus. My instinct is to give to the military now because the families are just like they actually no longer need it as much as the military,
so I am a
given the
little
weather
bit
situation.
I am a little bit worried about, for reasons related to the banking system, a little bit worried about shifting to military donations in a big way through my personal accounts. I think if we're going to do that, we should set up
Okay.
a nonprofit to do it
But I
because,
just mean with like the remaining money we have at the moment. Like I still have 4 grand, and you'll send me two more, and I can just go buy two batteries, and that's it.
yeah,
And we
no,
can just
I think
pause the
that
fundraiser.
I think that makes sense. I guess my instinct is that we should um uh so I don't want to call the fundraiser off. I do think we're likely to shift away from batteries right now because the most important thing in the spring will not be power, it will be something else.
It will be
Um
military related stuff
it'll be
because now
military related stuff
Russians
or
will begin
the
their spring campaign, and so
um or it'll be something else. And I want to stay flexible about what we do. If I am not going to post another send more money thing while we don't quite know what we're doing. But I will, as Nastia and I think of new things that are responsive to the individual moment, I will keep people posted. Andrew,
Good morning, everyone. Good morning,
morning.
Astia. Can you guys hear me?
yeah, just
Yes,
Cool.
fine,
Having some
loud and
issues with
clear.
the
crystal clear.
sweet.
Corrupted youth.
Yeah, 100%. How are things going, Astia, now that the weather's changed and what's approximately
It's
the temperature Celsius?
It's so nice. The Celsius temperature is basically tropical. It's plus 13, which
Sweet.
is astonishing to me and everyone else here.
Yeah.
It's very, very nice. It's gonna drop to plus 7 next week again. So it's gonna be quite chilly for a few weeks, but it's nice and sunny.
Yeah.
Uh,
55
and
Fahrenheit, says John Hawkinson.
yeah, yeah. But I've just, like, Ben and I briefly talked about this a few weeks ago. Like, it's astonishing how much money we raised. Like, it's a friend of mine said that it's more than individual countries have donated to Ukraine
Did
for
we
the
get to
energy crisis.
150K, or was it somewhere between 100 and 150 somewhere?
It's
I
100,
think
right around 130, I
Okay,
believe.
cool.
that's so much money.
And
Yeah.
it's the actual
And we
total
spent it all.
donations are more than that, because that amount subtracts the PayPal transaction fees. That's
Yeah,
the amount that I have
there's some fees.
received, not the amount that people have donated. And with Venmo, I receive 100% of what people donate. But with PayPal, they take out the transaction fees before I get it. And so, if somebody sends me $100, I get 97, and that's counting the 97, right? So it's actually more than 130. I don't, like, if you figure back in the total transaction fees, I would guess there's probably another 5 or 6,000 there. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what that number is.
I mean, it was just an awesome fundraising effort, and the speed at which it happened also was really
Yeah,
impressive. It just kind of
yeah.
it's just
Like,
the team came
it,
together.
I
it
was
was
very
crazy.
surprised and by how generous how many people were, including people like the Greek chorus was the core of it, but there were enormous numbers. It's like 1,000 people or something, and some of them are total strangers, sending rather large sums of money
Like,
to a
several people have
stranger's
sent several
five,
thousand
six
dollars at a
thousand
time.
dollars. There
Crazy.
are
Yeah.
a lot of people have sent $1,000, and that's uh, I thought that was an interesting comment on people's urge for, like, quick action, doing something, knowing exactly, feedback about how their money is being spent. Chris asks whether we got a bulwark bump, and the answer was yes. That bulwark appearance was worth about $25,000. And yeah,
I've been
uh,
telling Ben that, like, I think, like, um, I mean, it would be great if we could, like, keep this going in some sort of more organized fashion. But the problem with that is that it takes time and effort and money to run it on the legal side of things. And, like, but the point is, like, there is obviously so many people who want to help. And, like, if I actually put my mind to it, I will find other causes where money is needed. And,
yeah,
like,
there
we
are
could actually make this into a real thing, but it needs effort.
yeah. So it also, I think it can't be done. So one of the things about this effort is that it involved zero overhead,
What does
other
that
than the
mean?
transaction fees. And it's
Oh,
possible.
oh, like we were spending all of it and not taking any administrative costs.
Yeah,
Is that
we
what
took
overhead? Yeah.
no administrative costs. And so the percentage of the money that people sent that got where it was going is extremely high. Like
Yeah. I mean, I
crazy
think
high.
the only administrative cost I can think of is I paid Jimmy like $200 for gas because
No,
he's
that
been
but
delivering all of them.
but
But
that's
that's
not an
like,
administrative cost. That's
He
a
needs
okay.
direct
gas.
cost, right?
But
That's a cost
that's for the
of
context. The guy who has a truck and drove all of these batteries
yeah.
to
Greek
deliver them.
chorus knows Jimmy.
Okay,
He's
right.
been on
You're
the
right.
show.
So,
Yes,
Um,
yes.
can I flag Kate's question, which is, if Ben feels uncomfortable about spending for military, what about military families? I'm sure that would help soldiers' morale as
so
well.
But
And
also,
yeah,
I
Ben, no, wait, wait.
I
Ben isn't uncomfortable spending on the military. He's uncomfortable spending through his own account, right?
right. I don't
If he
have a
could buy
I
weapons
don't
and ship them, he would.
I don't have a problem. Well, let me be very precise about. So sending a battery to a military unit, that is not lethal aid. That's not, I would not run weapons. Although I have no problem with people who are running weapons. Uh, there are export controls on certain, I don't want to get into that business. And I also don't, but I will buy a battery for anybody in Ukraine who needs a battery, including military units. Now, and I will raise cash for military units that can then go spend them on drones. I don't want to be in the business of buying drones because I don't know there are compliance issues there that I don't know how to navigate. And I don't want to spend the administrative costs on lawyers to help me navigate. My only problem with having a fundraiser for military batteries is that if my transactions are getting flagged when somebody says Ukraine in my existing activity, what about when somebody says buying batteries for the Ukrainian military, right? Then some bank is going to reasonably say, oh shit, this guy's running guns and they're going to freeze my bank account. And so I don't, like, if we're going to do that, I have no problem doing it. I want to set up a separate bank account that is associated with a nonprofit organization that very clearly says, we raise money for power for the Ukrainian, but like that's completely transparent about what it's doing. And so but I do not have problems raising money for the military use at all. In fact, I would love to do that. I think here's the problem with scaling this as I see it, which is that you guys, this is mostly invisible to you, but it's not invisible to me. This was enormously time consuming for Nastya. And the like the amount of work, like I did a lot of work on this. She did an incredible amount of work on it. It was very, including like driving out every night to neighborhoods to find batteries, to deliver batteries, to find families who needed stuff. There are all kinds of issues about, when I tell you like getting her money was a pain in the ass, it was a real pain in the ass for her. And like
Well,
for me,
eventually it
it's
stopped being the pain in the ass because we figured out how to move money and we now know how to. I'm quite
right,
proud
but
of it.
I'm saying there's friction at every step along the way, and it's time consuming.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it on a long-term basis, you need a staff or a group of volunteers that's bigger. And you
Or just
also,
a system. I'm
right,
like like I think part of the reason why this was hard was because there was so much urgency. Like I was in Kyiv and it was literally minus 20 outside and I'm like I'm tired and I could deliver this tomorrow, but this family is going to sleep tonight and they don't have heating. So I have to do it tonight at 9 p.m. in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? And so there was an urgency because we were like in the middle of a crisis. But
right.
once the crisis kind of subsudes or whatever the word,
Subsides.
subsides. Sorry, English is hard. Um, yeah, I mean, it may not be as big of an issue. Though I
I,
guess every humanitarian thing is kind of urgent,
I do think the
I guess.
moment the complication here is that the moment you try to systematize it, you do have to start paying people. And I don't mean Nastia. I feel no guilt about not paying Nastia because this is our project.
Because you're already paying me.
Yeah, well, because she works for Lawfare and, this is like, we do this on the side together. But there's a
Somebody said the administrative cost was borne by lawfare with Nasta's salary. Yeah, that's basically what happened.
um the the complication is, systems require overhead, and I think we couldn't do it. So if you imagined you were paying somebody to run the organization side, do the compliance work, have a 501c. I mean, I already run one 501c3 organization. It's a freaking pain in the ass, right? And then all of a sudden, how are you different from United Help Ukraine, which does a
I was
very
just
good
gonna say
job,
that.
with that stuff. And by the way, like for your long-term giving in this area, they make a lot of sense. They're gonna be, and the other thing is you reduce the nimbleness of the operation, the ability to say, okay, yesterday we were into batteries, today we're into generators for Mamacita, today we're into electric blankets, today we're into warm clothes for children, right? All of that is really easy to do if it's your personal money and you answer to nobody for its expenses. But it's uh um
Well,
uh
is there any way to continue being that way in a way that doesn't jeopardize your bank account?
I don't know. I think I have to think about
Like,
it.
can you set up a new bank account and do
Well,
some sort of
would have to be a
tax
bank
cleverness
account.
with it?
I think I would have to set up a small nonprofit, and I would have a board that was like Andrew Steele, Kate, and John Hawkinson. And Greek chorus members, and would be and would have a charter that was super nimble, and I would have somebody on the US side do like we would figure out a set of systems to do it so that it could be radically transparent, uh, radically nimble, and maybe uh, replicate the radical transparency of the way. Like one of the things that I think made work about this is that people trust me with their money and trust you with this expenditure, and that there's a level of personal trust it's high enough that people were giving to this who aren't giving to organizations. And you don't want to create enough infrastructure, so much infrastructure that
Yeah.
you've removed that level of I'm telling you I'm good for this. And so
I am a corporate attorney, just to say it.
yeah, do you
I'm
any
allowed to
chance
do this. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is something that I've occasionally looked into, like the rules around what I'm allowed to do, and as long as it's a nonprofit, basically.
and you're allowed to do it on a pro bono basis?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's just separate from work obligations. You can be on boards of like nonprofits. I tried to be on the board of a friend's company that was an actual company that was selling things. But as long as it's as, and we do some Ukraine related work as well. So yeah, I think that would definitely be smiled upon.
Would your firm it's probably not advisable to have a conversation preparatory to a representation on a live stream,
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
let me at the risk let me do this in a way that will not waive any privilege we might one day have. If your firm would be interested in, instead of you being on a board,
Pro bono.
would be interested in being a pro bono counsel for 501c3 and tax purposes to such a nonprofit, we should have a conversation about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. One of my partners that I work with is Ukrainian, and she does some work in that
I
space.
think
So that's great.
I think it's set.
Business deals. You don't have to give me like $1 or whatever the joke is. I have one question, and I'm going to put this in the chat here. There's so that's a great idea, and I think that's a huge win. And Kate, you too. Um, I feel like you'd be very valuable as a board member. We could have a full Greek chorus board, but I get a lot of these ads for these keychains that are supposedly made from Russian tanks. Have you seen this?
That's so sick.
It's called Memory Steel.
I
I don't
have,
just like it
I
because the name.
wear so this one I am confident is real.
Okay, yeah, I want to know if they're real.
It is a bracelet made from steel from the Azov plant, and it's was made by families of or produced by families of people who were Azov prisoners, and was given to me by some of them. I think some of them are real and some of them are fraudulent.
Yeah.
And I suspect more are real, more are sold than are actually made from Russian tanks. But, you know, there are a lot of people who have, there's a whole gas station in Kharkiv that is full of destroyed Russian military equipment. It's kind of like a museum. And I mean, Nastia has shrapnel in her wall.
That was actual shrapnel in my actual wall.
Right.
Yes.
So it's like, you know, there's lots of stuff around, you know, there's lots of missiles that have come down and people, you know, it's not hard to get.
It's not hard to get, no.
War hardware. It's and so like there's nothing implausible about it. I don't know how you vet any of them for
being a tank.
vet any of it for tank authenticity. But I would say there's no reason why it couldn't be real.
Yeah. So one question that's come up in the chat, and then one and it's just shared on the screen. And then one slight sort of pivot, if that's cool. And I did check the calendar, and I've started.
Yeah.
I don't have the copy. It's like right behind me of Antigone. Are we still down for Sunday?
Yeah. So
is that right?
I completely forgot to put the Mara shorts for this weekend on the calendar.
Cool.
I was and I may have a concert that now conflicts with it. So can we, if it's okay with you, can we push it off for a week? And that will A, give me time to put it on the calendar so that people know that it's there, and B, it will relieve a scheduling conflict.
Yeah, would that be the 22nd, I think, maybe?
The 22nd at 5?
Perfect.
How does the scheduling work, by the way? I don't know details about this book club situation.
The hashtag DSTV calendar.
Okay.
I think Ben does it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I have the calendar, but like, how often does this happen?
This would be the second.
The Mara book club happens approximately once a month, but Andrew,
can I like pitch something to read or whatever?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, because I have a shit ton of reading to do.
But Andrew, but you know the rules of the Mara book club?
No.
Don't talk about the Mara book club.
No. So the rules of the Mara book club are it's not limited to this, but we privilege a new piece of nonfiction combined with a piece of fiction chosen by the author of the nonfiction book that goes well with it. We call it the fiction wine pairing. And so the author, we invite an author.
I have to invite. Okay, so then.
So but we don't always do it that way. And then Andrew invented the Mara shorts, which is a short work that can be from any time, can be fiction, can be nonfiction.
This is closer to what I want.
An essay, but the rule is, if you suggest a Mara short, you have to lead the discussion of it. And so we are getting ready to do a Mara short on Sophocles' Antigone and Jean-Henri's Antigone, a which is a rewrite of Sophocles.
Yeah. Anastasiia, the previous one was two dialogues of Plato. I think the timing
Yeah.
might generally be a little rough for you because it's like in the evening Eastern time.
But
But it
we
is
could
up
do
online.
them.
Yeah. And if
We
you
could
want
do
to
them
read
at
it,
a Nastia friendly time.
yeah.
I am so I'm coming to DC in like
Oh, cool.
6 weeks, and I am so freaking excited. I'm like Googling and planning things every day and just like counting the days until it happens. Because I love DC. It's my third place in the world, and I'm probably the only one in the world who thinks that. Um,
Yeah.
and so the point, yeah, I know everybody hates DC. I love DC.
I
Anyway,
love DC.
I'm coming to DC to do a weekend seminar on civil military relations, which is actually not as boring as I thought it will be. I thought it's like extremely boring, but then I got a list of like 6 books and like 20 papers that I have to read for this 2-day course, which is astonishing. So if you guys want to discuss all that with me,
Well,
I'd be
first of
happy.
all, our last Mara book club, our
It
last
was a book that
full-length
I'm now reading for the course. Yes.
was
Cool.
on
Stayed
the
in the Soldier.
subject of civil-military relations and was
This
the
book is at
estimable,
the core of the course.
yeah, the estimable Cory Shockey,
Yeah.
and you should watch the
That
discussion,
discussion,
which
yeah.
is sitting there on, along with her fiction wine pairing Deployment by Phil Kay.
Okay.
And
Assuming that Nastia is subscribed to Dogshirt TV, which I would guess
Nastia
is the
is
case,
subscribed to Dog. She has a lifetime subscription. She has access to the whole thing. Yeah.
The point is that I could pitch for the book club some part of my huge reading list, like something spicy, like
yeah,
about
so
the war in Iraq
assuming
or
that you
something.
could get other people to read it. But
No, but that's what I'm saying. Something actually interesting, like something
Yeah.
about the Iraq War or whatever, something like
yes,
fascinating.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yellow Birds is a good Iraq War novel about a deployment in Fallujah. Very, very deep war novel. I can't
Okay.
remember the author's name, but I think he was deployed. Okay, so one quick subject change, and it's related to things that we've discussed. One is I came on and you were talking about Laura Loomer for some reason. I
Yes.
came in a few minutes late.
You want a recap of the Laura Loomer monologue?
No, I don't really want to talk about Laura Loomer. She's a very, very
I wasn't
person.
really talking about Laura
It was her
Loomer.
hit
I was
on
talking
Ari.
about Ari Tabatabai.
Yeah,
who,
she kind of got her fired, right? Is that right?
well,
Wait, I didn't know this. T. Ari?
yeah.
Yeah,
She got fired by Laura fucking Loomer?
Well,
somewhat.
What?
it's
Wait,
Laura,
I need to befriend Ari ASAP.
Laura
Okay.
is a terrible person,
Yeah.
and has been responsible for terrorizing a lot of people in government.
Like non-white people generally, and like
Yeah, although
But I had no idea Ari
some
was a
white
part
people
of that.
too.
Yeah.
Wow.
She went after Ari on her Twitter feed yesterday for an appearance on Rational Security, and included
Laura Loomer is talking about our podcast.
yes.
I'm like worried right now. Is she gonna go and dig out my childhood photos?
Yeah,
I'm like
100%.
half joking.
Yeah.
Yes, probably.
Like fuck.
Anyway,
Okay.
Yeah.
But I make a point of not repeating the defamation that Laura Loomer engages in. I will say again, if you're going to talk about Ari's appearance on Rational Security, of which there are a number of examples, also on the Lawfare podcast, also on Lawfare Live, also on Dogshirt TV, please have the grace to say one word, only one, about what she said on any of those podcasts. Because
this is so bad. There's a
because
screenshot of you and everything. Oh my god.
yeah, I'm like I'm a big boy. I can handle it.
I'm a very small girl though. Sorry, I'm making this about myself. But
Were you on
I'm, like,
I haven't listened to
scared, though.
Ratsec. Were you on it?
no,
not in this
not
one,
this
but
time,
on
okay.
plenty before.
Yeah.
What if she digs some shit up? Oh my god.
No, for sure.
Anyway, I don't really mind her, like,
Free publicity.
attacking anybody for being on Rational Security. I think if you're gonna talk about somebody's appearance on Rational Security, just mention what she said on Rational Security.
Yeah. So I have yet to listen to the episode, but my reason for bringing her up is that a couple days ago, I think, I can't remember what she calls her stupid fucking podcast, excuse the language, Unleashed or something. I mean, she's, she ate dog food on one podcast as well, which I really found amusing. Somebody like pranked her into eating it, but she had a guy named Jake Lang. Do you know this dude, Ben?
I am aware of his existence, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I became sort of more aware of his existence the other day because he held an anti-Muslim protest in New York, right by Gracie Mansion, and I live pretty close to there, and my girlfriend's family lives right on that block, basically. And so I went to it, and I was interested to see what the counter protest was going to be because I knew, it's New York, that there was going to be some. He had the reporting is that it was 20 people on his side. That was the max at any point. Mostly it was him and 5 other dudes, and all of whom are incredibly bizarre people. And then the counter protest was probably up to 100 people at some point. But one thing that sort of hijacked the narrative a bit was that there was a terrorist attack.
Right.
I should have gotten the criminal complaint up, but the first named defendant is a gentleman named Amir Balat. I'm going to type it in the chat. And so it's 2 dudes.
It appears to be, at least on its face, ISIS related.
Absolutely.
Or at least ISIS inspired, not Iranian, and it's weird because it takes place in the context of a anti-Muslim protest, but they seem to have thrown something at Gracie Mansion, which is currently occupied by a Muslim. And
yes.
So the whole, it's not clear to me who's behaving more incoherently here.
Well, Jake Lang is a lunatic. He's a criminal lunatic. Even before January 6th, where he had an 11-count indictment, federal indictment. He was right at the front of the entrance with a baseball bat and a gas mask, beating it against Capitol Police. And even just months before that, he was arrested for drunk driving and threatening to kill an associate of his. So he's just a deeply, deeply troubled dude. He's also running for Senate in Florida. He's running against Ashley Moody because, again, he's totally delusional. But I think that this terrorist attack, again, it was ISIS inspired. These were 18 and 19-year-old guys. You all had a very timely podcast. What's the term? It's nihilistic violent extremists or whatever. You had Seamus Hughes and
Yep.
Jacob on.
And we have an extremely timely podcast today with Matt Olson, the former Assistant Attorney General for the National Security Division, which I really commend to you all. There's a lot in there that we're going to be talking a lot about over the next few weeks and months, and it's a really interesting dovetailing of the war in Iran with the various massacres at the Justice Department and FBI, with the impending lapse of FISA 702. And how this creates a perfect storm for malign, violent Iranian activity in the United States.
Yeah.
And so it's a subject about which we're going to have a fair bit more content coming on Lawfare in the next few days. And so I do flag that body of work for you.
Yeah, 100%. Really appreciate that. The talk with who is the host of the Nihilistic Violent Extremists podcast?
Peter Beck.
Yeah, Peter, right. So that was really great.
Our newest associate editor.
Awesome. And I remember I think this had been kind of a topic that had come up in relation to the Charlie Kirk assassination. These guys were just, fairly affluent suburban kids in Pennsylvania who became radicalized by ISIS. Again, it is ISIS inspired, not related to Iran. I don't think there really has been an Iranian. I mean, there was in Austin, right? Last week, a shooting of two people that the dude had like an
Yeah,
Iranian
I,
flag.
I don't expect the Iranians to effectuate terrorism within the United States instantly while the war is going on. As Matt and I talked about yesterday, the tail of Iranian revenge attacks is very long,
Yeah.
and is generally involves quite carefully planned operations. But they do a lot of them,
Yes.
and they target very high profile people. Remember, they tried to kill John Bolton.
Yes. And the
And
president, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
and the
Yeah.
president, although he wasn't the president at the time. And so, they don't play, and we have just dismantled the infrastructure. There were 17, 18, 19 of these efforts over the last few years. It's a pretty large volume of cases, and none of them were successful because the FBI actually is really good at this problem, and the Iranian target is one that the FBI has had a lot of success in penetrating and developing capacity with respect to. And we just fired all those people.
Yeah.
And we did it right as we were going to war with them. And so I think you've got a 2 to 3 year period in which you should expect us to be quite impaired in response to whatever they decide to do. And does that mean that all kinds of things are going to start blowing up quickly? I don't think it'll be quickly, but I do think you should be we should all be thinking hard about what the Iranians are going to be able to pull off and be motivated to pull off that they weren't able to or were not as motivated to 3 years ago.
Yeah. No, excited to listen. And that's sounds like a great sort of set of subjects. Yeah, just a final point on this. I mean, I was like there when this bomb was thrown, and it was due to the incompetence of these people that it didn't go off and
You
kill
were
Jake.
physically there?
Yeah, so I showed up to the protest at noon, and the bomb was thrown. The criminal complaint says it was at approximately 12:15, but that's not correct. It was about 12:40, and by that point, I had started to sort of like walk around the block just to like survey the area generally. So I didn't like I saw something being thrown like from a distance, but I wasn't like right at the barricades. Um, so I probably was, not in a zone of danger. But it was, I mean, the incoherence of the behavior of these people as well. It was like Jake Lang is saying that Muslim Americans should be deported, even if they're
Right.
citizens, and they committed an act of terrorism. And I mean, like, what was going through their brains, it was I mean, the level of nihilism is almost impossible to describe, and it's despicable behavior by them. I mean, Jake, again, is a lunatic, like, has no functioning brain cells, is a bad person. But I mean, terrorism is not what's going to solve this problem. And
Yeah, I mean,
the narrative
look,
just got totally hijacked. It was a
between
total
bomb
disaster.
throwing ISIS inspired people and the Jake Langs of the world, one would be tempted to just put them in a cage and let them fight it out.
Yes.
The problem is, Gracie Mansion and the safety of lots of other people around them.
Yeah.
But all right, we got to wrap. It is 8:59. Folks, we're going to be back tomorrow. It's going to be okay. We're going to set up a nonprofit organization. We're going to keep the fundraiser going. We've appointed a board. We have a lawyer, and we're going to keep this all going.
Heck yeah.
But I think we're going to stop the fundraising through my bank account for now, So, I mean, if you want to send me more money, send me more money. I'll make it work. But let's pause and build a little bit of infrastructure. We're going to work on the nimbleness of that infrastructure and making sure that it is that we can do it in a way that keeps the
The flexibility.
urgency at the right pitch. We're going to be back tomorrow. I don't know who the co-hosts are going to be. Maybe Alicia will feel guilty again and show up for a few minutes. Maybe she won't. I don't know who the guest is going to be. Maybe Andrew will show up again. Maybe he won't. But you're going to be there, and I'm going to be there, and maybe Nastya will be there, and it's going to be a blast.